Okay, to start this pattern, you are going to make a slip knot, which is you're going to make a loop. You're going to bring the short end over the long end, and then you're going to pull the long end through, and then you have like this loose knot looking shape, and then you're just going to want to pull that, and there you go. You have your slip knot. Just going to stick that on your hook, pull the tension taut, and then you're ready to go. So for the first row, we're going to be chaining 70. So I'm just going to attach my stitch marker here first onto the yarn, just so I know where my first chain is. So 1, and then look, you don't have to worry about trying to poke it through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. And then before I do the last chain stitch, so it is chain 70, which most people would do chain 71 and then work in the second loop from the hook, but I do this instead. I will grab the yarn, I'll grab the working end of the yarn, pinch it between my fingers, and then I'll pull it through and make the last chain, but keep it so that it's separated, and then I just work the first crochet right into that. Well, the first single crochet of the next row right into that, because I don't like the little gap that it leaves when you do the chain 1 and then work back into it. So the first row, again, was chain 70. So you got the little V shapes here, and then the back you have like these little humps is what people call them, back humps. So I work into these little loops instead of the front loops because I think it gives it a nicer finish on the one side. So instead of just having like one sticking out, you have that nice V shape, almost braided border look to it. So for the second row, you're going to do 1 single crochet per stitch, so then you should end up with 70 stitches by the end of the row. So again, this is my first one, so just line this up. Maybe. There we go. So 2. So again, you're just going to do 1 single crochet per stitch until you reach that first stitch marker you put in there, and I'll meet you back here, okay? So here we are, only 2 more left, so this is going to be stitch number 69, so 69, and then 70, our last one. And then what I like to do is I like to remove the stitch marker and then start the next row. But before I start the next row, I'm actually going to measure this and show you guys how long it is, because my guess is this is going to be about, this to me looks like just about 15 inches maybe? Yeah, I guess this is about 15 inches. Okay, you're just going to keep being difficult, so I'm just going to measure you. Oh, look at that, chat. I was freaking right. It's 15 and a half. So this should be about 15 and a half when it's done. Maybe add an inch or 2, because technically the top of the spiral is where you attach the top to, and then the bottom of the spiral is where you would attach a tassel or something like that. This one, I'm not going to be adding anything fancy to the bottom of it, just for convenience sake, and I'm lazy. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this loop back out, and then I'm going to put my hook back into these 2 loops, because I'm going to change my color, and this is the way that I prefer to change my color. So you don't have to do a slip knot and then have a knot in your project. So what I do is, so you know how you put your needle through the stitch, you yarn over, pull through. So instead of yarn over and pull through 2 loops, you grab your new color and then pull it through the 2 loops. And then what you want to do is you want to pull that color, the first color, as tight as you can. And when most people start another row with double crochet, they'll chain 2 or chain 3 and then work in the stitch next to the hook. But again, I don't like the way it looks, so what I do is I actually work into this first loop, this first stitch here, and I do a single crochet. So as you can see in this, ooh, it's a little bright, there we go. The single crochet has 2 loops here in the front, right? So you got this right loop and this left loop. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go put your hook through the left hoop, and then you're gonna do another single crochet, and then this will count as your first double crochet of the row. And instead of having a chain and a big gap, you have this nice stitch right here that's going to match the thickness of the rest of the stitches for the rest of the row. So then what we're going to do is we're going to snip our old yarn and then scooch that out of the way. And so for row 2, you're going to be doing 2 double crochet in every stitch. So like I said, this one counts as your first double crochet, so you need to put 1 more double crochet into the same starting stitch. And then I like to work over my ends, double crochet per stitch, but these 2 ends I will be weaving in when I'm done with the entire wind spinner. So in that first stitch you have the 2 double crochet, and the stitch right next to it you're going to do 2 more double crochet. This also does count as a double crochet increase, because again you're doing 2 stitches into 1 stitch, so you're increasing the stitch count. So you're going to continue that pattern of 1 double crochet increase into every stitch, like so. So when I get to the middle of this, I will come back and show you how it's looking so that you guys know that you're on the right track. Okay, now that we're at the halfway mark, this is what your wind spinner should be looking like for row 2. As you can see, it's got a nice little spiral going, and then when you flatten it, it will flatten itself into like little discs and fold in on itself, like so. So as you can see, it looks like a little sandwich. But yeah, if it looks like this, then you know you're on the right track. So you're just going to keep doing 2 double crochet per every stitch, and then I'll meet you here at the end of the row, and then we'll start row 3. So for the last 4 stitches, once again, you're just going to keep repeating that pattern of 2 double crochet for every stitch. This is the very last stitch of this row, so what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, put it through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to switch to your next color, then yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. Keep your last 2 loops on the hook, get your next yarn color ready in your hand, like so. Leave a little bit of a tail, just that way you have a little extra security when working it in, and then you're just going to pull it through those 2 loops. You're going to pinch it and hold it, and then you're just going to tighten this other color as much as you can, and then leaving a nice little tail, give it a little snippety snip snip, push that out of the way, and then again, instead of chaining, I'm just going to stick my hook directly into this first stitch and do 1 single crochet. Then again, in the left front bar, I'm going to do another single crochet, and then I'm going to move my stitch marker to the top single crochet, and there you go. That's the first double crochet of row 3. Now for row 3, you'll be doing 3 double crochet into every single stitch. So it's kind of like you're doing the granny cluster, but in every stitch with no spaces in between. So here's your first double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. And then in the next stitch, you're going to put 3 more. So 1, 2, 3. And then in the next stitch again, just 3 double crochet. So as you can see, we already did 3 stitches worth. So you can kind of see where it all separates, because again, the stitch underneath it gets bigger when you work more stitches into it. So row 1, row 2, row 3. So now for the rest of the row, you're going to continue the pattern of 3 double crochet into every single stitch. And I will meet you about halfway just to show you what it should be looking like, so you know that you're on the right track. Okay, so here we are, halfway done with row 3. It should be looking like this. Yeah, it might be a little wrinkly and a little messy, but that's okay. You just have to flatten it together like this, and then just, manipulate it with your hands, and it'll flatten itself out into the shape that it needs to be. So, like I said, this is halfway done with row 3, so this is how you know you're doing it right. It'll just fold in on itself nicely, and all the sides should be uniform. As you can see, none of them are too much bigger than the other ones. So you're going to continue with 3 double crochet for every stitch until the end of the row, and then I will meet you back here, and then I will show you what to do for row 4. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 3. We only have about 3 stitches left, but before I complete this row, I just wanted to show you this is how my spinner is looking right now. And as you can see, this looks a little yucked up. So all you have to do to fix this is just start gathering it up from the bottom and, you know, just lightly twirling it while flattening it at the same time. As long as you do that, it'll just naturally follow the curve and sort itself out. And then there you go. Now you have your little stack. Nice and neat. And then when I get to this part, I just like to squish it a little bit just to try to help it keep its shape and keep it a little bit flatter so it doesn't rankle up again. Now to finish the row, we just have to place 3 double crochet in the last 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3. Next stitch, 1, 2, 3, and then in the last stitch, we're going to do our first double crochet. In the last stitch, 1, 2, and then you're going to yarn over, stick your hook through this stitch, yarn over, pull through so that you have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then you're going to leave these 2 loops on the hook and switch to your final color. So you have your last 2 loops on your hook, so you're just going to yarn over and pull your new color through. You're going to pinch and turn, and then we're just going to do 1 single crochet in this first stitch. We're going to move our stitch marker up here. For row 4, you will be doing 1 single crochet per stitch. So you already did your first single crochet here. So then this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you'll just continue 1 single crochet per stitch until the end of the row, and I'll meet you about halfway just to show you how it's supposed to be looking so that you know you're on the right track. Okay, so we're a little more than halfway done. I forgot to do the halfway check mark, but as you can see, the bottom's looking nice and even, and then again, this part's kind of getting a little bit wrinklier than you would like, but again, all you have to do is just gather up this bottom part, and then twist and fold it on itself. And then boom. It's fixed. Okay, so then I'll meet you at the end of the row here, and I'll show you how to finish it off. Okay, so here we are with 2 stitches left in the row here. We're just going to put 1 single crochet in the next one, and then another single crochet into the last one. So what we'll be doing now is we'll be pulling our yarn a little bit to create a loop. I like to do it about, I like to pull about 6 inches and then bring it back, so it would be a 12-inch tail total. And once you have your loop, what you're going to do is you're going to pinch your loop so that it doesn't undo itself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do 1 more single crochet while pinching that loop to lock it into place, like so. See how it's locked in there? And then you're just going to chain 1, and then you're going to snip your end and then pull it through. And then just to secure this loop and make it a little bit stronger, I like to wrap this little tail around. You're gonna have the tail on top, you're gonna have the back yarn passing, and then you're gonna put it through that little hole, and then you're gonna pull it as tight as you can, and then you're gonna do the same thing again. So what I do is I keep my finger here, pull the yarn around, and then pull it through like so. And there, you can see, now there's a little bit more of a knot, and it's more secure that way. So now what you're gonna do is the boring process of weaving in your ends. For this end and this end only, I do like to tie these 2 together just because as you can see, there's kind of a big hole right there. Can you focus, camera? Thanks. So there's kind of like a really big hole right here. So I like to tie them together first before weaving them in, because it makes it a lot tighter and that hole disappears. So as you can see now, it looks like more of a finished bottom versus that gigantic hole that was there. If you were going to attach a tassel, or you would attach it in that little hole there. Well, you could attach it in that little hole, or you can attach it to the tip of the spinner, which is this stitch right here. So you can either attach it down here or right here. It depends on the type of spin you want to get. Now that all my ends are weaved in, as you can see, the bottom is nice and spiraled like it should be, but the top is a little funky. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start at the bottom here, and we're gonna rewind it up, and we're gonna keep it nice and flat as we're winding it up. And then you're just gonna rewind the whole entire thing, and I will meet you when you get to the top. Now we're back at the top, and as you can see, all the circles are just about the same size. So, you know, you're just gonna either tighten it or loosen it a little bit, and then you're gonna give it a nice smush. You can either smush into your desk like this, or you can smush it together. I kind of like holding it like a little sandwich or like a little hamburger, just giving it a good old. And then when you store it, what I've been doing is I've just been twisting this and then putting it around like this. So it keeps it all in one piece. But to show you guys, look at the finished product. Look at it. And you have completed your very own crochet wind spinner. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, leave a comment, follow, and subscribe. If you would like to catch one of my streams live and join in on the fun, then go on over to Twitch and type in JDragoArt. I hope to see you there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe and stay spooky.